All right, everybody, welcome into the Auburn Live show. Appreciate everybody for joining us. We got a little special edition today, catching up with Auburn kicker Alex McPherson. Alex, what's up, man?
What's up? How you doing?
Good. I appreciate you joining us, man. So, you've had a wild kind of year and a half. We didn't get a chance to talk to you a lot last year. Obviously, you were dealing with some health stuff. You had an unbelievable year the year before. But we didn't get to talk to you last year. You were dealing with some health stuff. Now we're kind of entering the spring, and I thought, man, we need to catch up with Alex and just sort of see how he's doing, kind of take us back a little bit through what last year was like, and sort of figure out kind of how you're feeling now and all that good stuff. So I really appreciate you joining us, man.
Yeah, no problem. I'm happy to talk about everything that went on last year. So I mean, a lot of people don't know everything that went on. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm excited to talk about it. But so really, towards the end of spring, I started losing weight randomly, and we really didn't know what was going on. And so I went to Robbie about it, our trainer, and I went to see a GI specialist. And so I've been diagnosed with, I had ulcerative proctitis before ulcerative colitis is what they officially diagnosed me with. And so I know I've had this for like a year now, going back to last March. But it would never really affected me or anything, in really a bad way. I just had it and I just lived with it. But then, like I said, the end of the spring last year, I started losing weight randomly. I dropped like 20 pounds in like 2 weeks, maybe, just randomly. And so I'm a small guy, anyways. I was 165, not like I was a big guy, but I dropped down to like 145, and then I kept losing weight. And then so I got with the GI specialist, had a colonoscopy, and they diagnosed me with ulcerative colitis. And so then after that, for some reason, I don't know what triggered it, I started throwing up every day. For like 2 months, the entire summer, I probably threw up like at least once a day after everything I ate. I don't know what triggered it, but what went on, they put me on a medicine called Stelara, which is a biologic. So for you that don't know, ulcerative colitis is an autoimmune disease. It's not really anything that you can treat with normal medicine. It's more like specialty medicine that you have to treat it with, like biologics that alter the chemistry in your body to, fight it. So started with Stelara, and we were just trying to wait on it to work during the summer, and it just wasn't really working, doing anything, unfortunately. So I kept losing weight. I got down probably to, I'd say, I got down like 110, 110 pounds. And so I was 165, so I lost 55 pounds in like 2 months. And that was at the end of July. I got admitted to the hospital then, and I got put on Remicade, which it made me feel better immediately. And I started gaining weight again, and that's whenever I was like, I want to play football this year, So then I got back up to around 150 during the middle of the season. I did get all the way back up there. And then kind of around like October, end of September, start of October, I started losing weight again. And they said that the Remicade had quit working, unfortunately. So then I started my third medicine, which was Rinvoq, and I just kept losing weight, and nothing, it wasn't working for me. And so then after the season, I decided, ultimately I was done for the season, done trying to play, just trying to get better at this point. And so towards the end of the season, I kept meeting with Robbie, and then we decided to go see a UAB specialist, GI specialist. And so then we talked to them. I got another colonoscopy, I think in December. And then, back up. During the summer, I went to see a UAB specialist when I went to the hospital. And that's who put me on the Remicade and the Rinvoq. And so I had a good relationship with them throughout the whole season. They're trying to help me. And then at the end of the season, whenever I was on Rinvoq and it wasn't working, I had another colonoscopy done in December after the season ended. And we ultimately decided it was best for me to just get my colon removed completely because nothing was working. There was no medicine that was going to touch it really. They thought that it was the best for me because of how long I'd been struggling. I mean, at this point, it had been 8 months, and I couldn't really live life. I couldn't go out to eat without, just the worry of having to go to the bathroom, where the bathroom is at. It's just that kind of life I had to live for 8 months. So ultimately, we just decided to take my whole colon out, and I mean, ever since then, that was like December 20th, I think, is whenever we decided to take it out. But that was the day I had the surgery, and so I got it completely taken out. And then, I mean, ever since then, I've just been on the up, and so feeling great now. Glad we got it all figured out. And so right now I have an ileostomy bag, which it's just where they use your small intestine, and make a bag. And I could get that reversed eventually, but for right now I'm keeping it. But I mean, I can live a normal life again. I'm gaining my weight back. I was actually my heaviest yesterday. I weighed 160 pounds last night, and so I've gained about, I'd say it's like 50 pounds in 8 weeks on Friday. So,
wow.
And I mean, that's pretty much my story. Not a lot of people have heard the whole thing, and that was it. So,
Well, first of all, I mean, really glad to hear that you're, that you're doing well, that you're feeling well, that you feel confident in the surgery and the results of it, and that you can kind of sort of see the other side, or you probably feel like you're on the other side of this. I mean, when you go back, I guess, to last spring, so was it after 8 when it starts going and they just can't figure it out, right? They cannot figure out why you're losing weight.
yeah.
I guess what was kind of going through your head in terms of um, thinking about your health, but also thinking about trying to play football? I mean, I guess, like, how did it sort of transition to go, I'm not sure what it is, and then you're like, man, this is, I don't know, I guess how concerned did you get long term? Like, just mentally, how tough was that to just feel like you're sort of in the dark trying to figure this out? Nobody has any good answers.
Yeah, it was definitely a test of my patience.
Yeah.
I would say, like, just not being able to, like, pinpoint exactly what it was. They couldn't tell me, exactly what it was, because it's kind of a rare disease to get, and it's kind
Yeah.
of like, it can either be Crohn's colitis, it can be ulcerative colitis, it can just be Crohn's disease. There's just so many factors that it can be, and it's just a very, like, I don't know the word for it, but it's just hard to diagnose you exactly and treat it exactly like the way it should be treated. You kind of have to test, and if that fails, you try another thing. If that fails, trial and failure, I guess. And so, um, but honestly, it taught me how to be patient through it all. And for the majority of it, my mindset, I never thought about not playing football again. I've always wanted to play football, and so for me, I mean, playing football was never. For me, getting healthy was to get healthy so I can play football. Honestly, was where my mind was at the entire time. Um, and then towards the back end of the season, when I was really down, and I was like, man, I just really need to get healthy. And that's kind of what the coaches told me too. And, like, we just want you to be better. I mean, this isn't good for your health.
Yeah.
It wasn't good for me. I mean, long term, obviously. And so, but honestly, I mean, I'm a man of religion, man of faith, and so I just think that we go through trials for a reason, and they make us better, make us a better person on the back end. And I believe that wholeheartedly. And without that experience, I don't think I'd be the man I am today. And just realizing how grateful we are to live a life that's of health, and just being able to work out, being able to take a walk without getting tired. Like, I took those things for granted, I think, and it really made me realize just how blessed we are to just do those daily activities we don't even think about.
Yeah. It's very true. So how do you feel now in terms of heading into the spring? Like, do you feel like you're over the hump, you have it figured out, you feel like great going into the spring, you're not concerned about something flaring up again or how you might handle it? Like, you feel like, okay, I'm good to go, now it's time to get back to kicking, you don't have any reservations?
No, not for me.
Yeah.
So they took my entire colon out, which was the sick part. Luckily, my small intestine wasn't sick at all. There was no inflammation in that. if there was, that would be Crohn's disease, and that can come back anywhere. But they're pretty positive that mine's just ulcerative colitis, which is good because once you take the colon out, the disease is gone. So it really can't come back. You can't flare up again, which I'm excited about. That's for sure. And I'm ready to give it a go. Yeah, I'm gonna try and play in the spring, hopefully. I started kicking last week. Been getting back into it, so I'm just so excited to finally get back to it and not have to worry about going back down again or not being healthy.
Oh, no doubt. So how long has it been? So like, you popped up in that Kentucky game. Was that when last year? Was that when you had gained some weight back? You probably had kicked in practice a little bit. Was that sort of in a period where you thought it had sort of been figured out, the medicine was working a little bit, so like, okay, let's go give it a try, and then after that it stopped working? Or what was the I guess what led into you being able to kick that game but then not anything else?
Actually, like a couple weeks prior to that week, I was probably the healthiest I'd been in a long time. I was the heaviest, and then like I think it was Missouri week, I kind of started losing weight again, and then but I just wanted to play so bad, and I'd been kicking in practice, and then it comes to Kentucky week. I wasn't really feeling the best, but I just wanted to give it a shot, and I did. I'm glad I played in the game. I mean, ultimately, I had fun. But looking back, I think I weighed 135 pounds during that game. I definitely probably shouldn't have been out there, but I mean, I'm glad I got to play at least one game. And then after that game, I kind of went to Burns and was just like, I don't think it's best for me and my health. I was getting tired from walking up the stairs, just because my body was just so exhausted all the time. So I just knew I couldn't practice, and it wasn't best for the team to have me out there because I couldn't give them my best.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So then, how long has it been? Did you just sort of shut it down? Were you still at practice kicking, or at that point did you go,
Yeah,
I don't even need to be exerting any energy? Like how long did you go without actually even kicking, practicing?
Yeah, at that point I kind of just shut it down. After the Kentucky game is really whenever, I don't know what week that was. What was it? Week 8, week 10, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I think I kind of was just there to support the guys, and just give the best advice that I could, the best support, because I knew I wasn't gonna be able to kick, but I could still be a help to them, I guess.
Yeah. But you feel good now. So how do you feel kicking now? I mean, when you walk out there and you're starting to kick more, I guess recently, I guess spring's, going to start here in a few weeks. You feel like is the leg strength still there? Or is that something you got to get back? Like you're not quite maybe to where you were in terms of strength, accuracy.
Yeah.
Is it like riding a bike? You just got to get back doing it? Or are you like pretty quickly back to feeling like you're where you were?
Yeah, I mean, I can get back pretty quickly to feeling like the same, like kind of kicks, but like you said, the leg strength just isn't there as you start. Obviously, kicking's it uses different muscles than just working out. It's all about the speed and the contact, and so I mean, while I have the same, like you said, it's riding a bike. I mean, I can come back and I can kick, but I don't have the same power as of right now. I mean, it'll come back eventually because I mean, during the season when I gained that weight back, I was hitting 65 yarders again during practice. So I mean, it comes back. It just takes a little bit of time. So, like I hit a 50 yarder, I think, for the first time this past week, and I started kicking. That was like the third time I'd kicked fully. So it comes back pretty quick, I'd say.
Yeah. That's obviously that's great news. Was there a point where you were like, I don't think I'm going to play football again?
I mean, I don't think that's ever been a thought of mine. I think whenever I just decided to focus on my health, I thought at that point, yeah, I'm gonna focus on just being healthy or just getting healthy.
Mm-hmm.
But no, my goal is always just to still is to play in the NFL, and play for Auburn at the same, So no, it's never really been a thought that I'm done with football. It's always my mindset's always been to get healthy, to play football, and to have a normal life again.
Well, I mean, it's great. I mean, through it all, you're still, I think I looked it up a second ago. I mean, I think you're still 20 of 22 in your Auburn career. I mean, you had a streak. I guess you had
ruined the streak though.
I know I think it was like 17. I don't know, what was it? 17 going into the Kentucky game, going back.
I think it was think it was 20 or 21.
2021. Yeah.
It was 20 because I missed my first ever field goal, and then I didn't after that. But
yeah, I mean a crazy streak, but still 20 of 22 for your
we'll just have to
for
beat it
your
this year.
for your career. So how was last year? Obviously Towns comes in. Talk about Towns a little bit. He comes in and highly touted kid, big leg. And just went through some bumps and bruises, obviously, as a freshman does, some struggles, some inconsistencies, which can happen. How was that? How are you sort of walking alongside of him, trying to coach him, trying to keep him in a good headspace last year? And how do you feel like he's sort of, I guess, getting ready for this spring and trying to kind of bounce back? I'm sure he was probably thought he would. Probably a little disappointed in some of the misses, but I guess how was that sort of trying to coach him come alongside of him last year and keep him encouraged?
Yeah, I think I'd say, I mean, just the biggest thing that I would always tell him is, I mean, you're plenty good enough. We all know that he's a great kicker. And I mean, I know that he's a great kicker. All the guys in the room believed him. All the guys on the team believed him. He just had to go out there and just be confident in himself and do it, And I think that, I think he did that a couple of times, during the season. It wasn't the season he probably wanted, but I think just being able to go out there as a freshman, it's also tough being in that just as a true freshman. It's a tough environment playing in the SEC. But honestly, I think he handled it well. I think mentally he handled it as good as he could. Obviously it wasn't the season that he wanted, but he kept a positive attitude, and he, I mean, it is our job, but it's not who we are. That's what I always tell him. It doesn't define us. We play football. It's not who we are. And so I think that he handled that pretty well just from his standpoint.
Well, I mean, now you're going in. I mean, you have obviously you feel healthy and you feel good. Towns has gone through a season, learned a lot. I mean, and I mean, I guess the other side of it is you're going into a spring with you and Towns. Obviously, Connor Gibbs comes in from Southern Miss, maybe try to compete there a little bit. It's as good of a kicking room potentially as I remember. I mean, you always kind of have one kick, there's just only so many scholarships, but I mean, I would think this spring should be highly competitive and probably would only elevate everybody's game. How do you sort of see that room going into the spring? And Connor, I guess the kid from Southern Miss, have you watched him kick a little bit? How does he sort of fit in?
Oh yeah, no, we definitely have a great room. I mean, all the kickers we have as of right now, I mean, they're great. Connor came in, and he's just as good as any of us. It's not just because he's from Southern Miss, he's not as good, but he came in. I mean, he was booming the ball. So no, it'll be fun. It'll be, like you said, it'll be a good competition and make us all better ultimately in the long run. And so, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. We got Ian in there as well. He's also a great kicker. So, I mean, we have. Well, I think we have one of the best rooms in the nation as far as kicker wise. We have a lot of kickers right now that could play really anywhere. I'd say.
Take me through a little bit of where you think the team's at. Obviously, but you guys have been going through winter workouts, which is always interesting, especially in the portal age. There's you already have new high school kids that come in. You toss in portal, and it's just like the last couple of years, you've probably felt like just a bunch of turnover, right? And so the winter has been probably interesting with so many new faces. What's it been like? What's it felt like heading into the spring? Do you sort of feel the chemistry building, like just kind of early impressions of what this team could be from a chemistry standpoint, leadership standpoint?
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like a lot of guys that have been at Auburn for a while, not from the portal, are becoming good leaders for this new culture that we've been building. And the guys that have gotten here have already bought into it. And so we really do have a good team chemistry and just a good bond that we're building right now. Like you said, it is almost like you have a new team during the spring from the old season. And it's fun to get to know the new guys and, just get to hang out with them. But I feel like as far as the culture and the bond that we have going, I think it's definitely going in the right direction as far as, discipline and having fun with one another and, just being a team.
Have you had a chance to hang out with Chad Luntz for a little bit? Of course, Chad takes over. Tanner Burns leaves. Chad comes in as the special teams coach. A lot of Auburn fans might remember Chad from, he was here at Auburn previously and worked in the Gus Malzahn era. I dealt with him a lot because at that point he was over recruiting and personnel and a lot of recruiting strategy and stuff when he was here previously. Yep. He's done some great things at Georgia Southern, and then he was at FAU and comes with Rock Bellantoni, who now, of course, comes back as well. But what are some early impressions of Chad? I always thought Chad was a really high character guy, a really great guy. I think he's a good fit within the staff. But what are maybe some of your early impressions of getting to know him a little bit in terms of Chad taking over special teams?
Yeah, no, we love him so far. I mean, I think he just brings a different aspect to it. He's a very competitive guy, very, very serious guy, but, we need that. And I mean, so far we love him. He's been a great addition, and just his want to build a relationship with the players, is a big thing. He doesn't just want to be a coach. He wants to be a friend at the same time, and kind of build that relationship. And so just being able to have that, and he's really just fit in so far. And like you said, he hadn't been here long. We've had a couple meetings with him today. We have one later on today. This is our second special teams meeting with him. And he just brings a seriousness and, an excitement to it. He calls it special forces instead of special teams. So nice. You'll see some soldiers out there, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's all good news. I guess let's end on this. What are your goals going into the spring? Where do you want to, by A-Day or whenever spring ends, where do you want to be? Whatever that might be in terms of leg strength, or where do you want to kick, or like, what are just some things that you want to get accomplished in the spring to feel like I'm back?
Yeah. I would just say, just have my full strength back as far as kicking goes. Being able to hit those longer balls without having to worry about, am I going to get there on them? That's one of my biggest goals, is to just get the strength back in my size that I had. It wasn't much of a size, but I had a little more than I do now. So just get the weight back, get the strength back, the muscle. And I think that would be just that'd be a goal achieved for this spring for sure. And I would love to play an 8A game, obviously. That's one of my goals as well. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's about it for this spring. Just continue to get healthy, continue to get stronger, and just trying to get back to where I was.
Well, I mean, that's awesome. Congrats on kind of where you're at now. I know it's probably just an incredible relief, and I think good comments about perspective in terms of when you go through something, sort of being able to look back on it. No doubt you probably have a different outlook on things, and that's I think that's good sort of perspective and good advice for everybody. So happy for you, man. Glad you're feeling better. I know Auburn fans are certainly glad that you're going to be back out there and have an opportunity to kick and help this team hopefully get over the hump and have a big year, have sort of a breakthrough season. I think this is sort of the season that that potential is there, to get over the hump. And I know you're excited to be a part of it. So appreciate you, man. We'll see you out there during spring ball. Happy for you, and we'll stay in touch. I'm sure we'll get a chance to talk to you maybe during the spring if you're up for it. But appreciate you, man. Appreciate the time.
Yes, sir. No problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, Alex McPherson. Appreciate everybody for joining us. Go to auburnlive.com and subscribe. Subscribe and turn on notifications on our YouTube channel as well, where you're watching this. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.